Okay, guys, so we're going to be meshing day 3 and day 4. Really, honestly, talking more to the pain points and really how you can get past those points. Some of the more common questions that we've been having in the streams, and really just making sure that you guys understand what's going to best prepare you at this point for launch. Now, I will say I want to apologize for the delay in day 3 because really at this point, for those that were at the stream, my fiance actually was sick, so I had to rush her to the hospital. So she's fine now, so I appreciate all you guys for wishing her well. And she's also very thankful. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's jump right into it. We're currently level 35. I would say going into day 4, into day 5, you want to be at that point, right? Like you should be at level 35. I actually, like I said, I kind of fell behind and I'm still there. Okay, so that means there's no excuse. Now, the biggest thing is that what you're really trying to accomplish here, and this is like by far one of the most common questions, and I feel like I have to reiterate it every video because somebody new might be watching it. Guys, you have to do stamina refills. Like there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. If you're not doing stamina refills, it's literally going to make you honestly not progress. You're going to feel like you're not pushing. It's even, I guess, kind of answering that question. What are you doing with your hydro crystals? It's being utilized to refill your stamina. And what point at which do you stop? Up until about level 40. Okay. So I want to like just tackle that part because that's such a common question that everybody's coming in. They're like, dude, I'm level 12 on day 3 and you're level 35. How is that? It's because we're doing stamina refills. And a lot of players are also seeing what we're talking about. There's actually going to be linked down below as well for those that are going through the game with the Tiamat strat. The homie Scion Storm, he's another one of the original beta players like myself, where he actually did prove tried and true a 12-part series where he actually plays through the game with the Tia strat with Kraken and all of that stuff, and actually goes and shows currency, how many pulls you can do, etc. So I definitely recommend you guys check that out. I've been sharing it in my stream because that strategy is really, really crucial, especially for those that have been going the tier route, and not even just for those that's going the tier route, but it actually will show you that you can refill and up until that point before you start seeing a diminishing return, which is why we keep telling everyone, don't do it past level 40. It's not worth. You really at that point are starting to kind of acclimate and get your account ready for you to start being able to push into Inferno, which will unlock at level 50. Okay, so just want to make that very, very clear. All right, now some of the other things, let's talk about it. All right, so just in terms of my overall account investment, we obviously have 2 6-stars. This is something you should be able to accomplish going into day 4 with your second 6-star being done. Obviously, you're going to start, building up more 5-stars. That's where you're really going to start seeing your account kind of flush out. We ended up getting very lucky. We got Oval, so we started building him up. We obviously got our Hell Kid that we pulled the other day. Still working on Gray, like I told you guys. Some people are like, oh, you're not using him right now. I was like, yeah, not yet. But he's actually a mainstay in my Doky team, which I'll show you guys that in a second. We are using Lilith, sorry, in some scenarios, especially in the tower. She's great there for helping us lock down, push back, and isolate. And you guys seen some of the magic we were able to do in yesterday's stream. So yeah, that's definitely a huge, huge plus. Still using Freya per usual. She's going to be our pushback, push forward with the buffing. Kraken, one of the best characters right now for a lot of accounts, if not every account. If you don't have a Kraken, you're going to feel like you don't got a Kraken. He's really insane for this, the lockdown, the pushback. It's really consistent. And even just like investing in him is going to be really crucial. We're using Dinah for my Terramatan team, and then for my Aurora team, because remember, Aurora actually unlocks at level 30. You don't necessarily have to go and start farming that right away. You're still working on your Terramatan. You're still working on your Doky. You're going to go then and work on starting to, build up some units. And, fun fact, Viper is a character that you can actually build very, very fast so that he could be your opener, because guess what? He's actually going to have a chance to dispel buffs. And when this is skilled up, it's going to turn into 2 buffs when he uses his skill 3, which is the very first thing that he starts out with. And because he's a counter gimmick unit, he has a damage reduction built in. And then he'll also be able to have his skill 3 proc multiple times. So it gives him more chances to dispel. So of course, with that, we are still using Dorothy and number 41 when we need to, but we've emphasized so much more on the turn meter pushback. I'm not using my number 41 nearly as much, just kind of opening with Kraken and stuff like that. And I'll kind of talk about my PvP. We did do some RTA too. So again, guys, make sure you guys come to the streams. I'll have the stream linked too, so that you guys can check out some of those points where we were doing, you know, the RTA and just kind of going through that and flying through it, right? So with that, okay, that's like basically my unit investment. Oh, and one thing I want to cover here, right, is just kind of always showing this. We're getting into the next set of gear, right? Like the biggest thing is, and like what's really going to be a big progression push for a lot of you guys is making sure that you're constantly tweaking the gear. I think that that's another thing that a lot of players keep asking is what exactly is going to give me the most investment? I think it's EXP. It's not really leveling necessarily. Your gear is really going to be a huge push to your character. Your shell is going to be a huge push to your character. And the reason why is because of the base stat, right? The percentage stat that you're getting, it rolls higher. Just the main stat alone on a next rarity, like going from say epic into outstanding, and then from outstanding into mythic is going to be game changing, right? So you're talking about even just being able to hit certain stat allocations. There's so much more of a stat percentage that you can get on the next piece is going to actually be easier to hit those allocations. So that's why you want to constantly be shifting out and just going up to the next thing if you can. And I would definitely say at this point, you should not have any purple pets at all. This should only be epic and up at this point. And I would say you can actually invest a little bit more into your epics up until the point when you shift into like day 4, where you're really starting to try to push mythic, which we have our first mythic on our Rosa, right? So we got White Fang. Now we're going to start pushing more investment into our mythics. Now, don't get it twisted though, because at this part, there's still going to be some that are going to be high in value, like Diamond Heart. You're not really going to have a direct replacement just yet. You still need to kind of go into some of the next bosses, which might take you a little bit. So this doesn't mean that you just trash those epics. Epics are still going to be really solid at this specific point, but you're going to start transitioning, especially I would say maybe your damage dealers into those mythics, right? Like White Fang is going to be accessible, and Artisan is going to be accessible. So that's going to be something that, I mean, and technically, I guess you could shift into Artisan for Diamond Heart too. But yeah, those are going to be accessible to you. So you want to make sure that you start working your way up, all right? Now, of course, with that, skill ups. I know somebody's going to ask about that. What are skill ups looking like? Guys, it is going to be so important that you do not, and this is why, I'm telling you guys, whatever we are telling you is for a reason, and it's because players are going to get stuck because they're just like, oh, I'm just going to go do this. Animus Fate 2, okay? You are going to need to hit account level 40, right? And then you're also going to need to equip a SSR Animus with level 15 modules, right? And then it's also going to say level up any SSR Animus skill to max, right? So you need to make sure that you're holding on to Latice to first power up a character to max, okay? I know some people are going to start trying to level for specific skills. Like, no, keep it all on one character, because otherwise you're going to get stuck here. And if you already used your resets, then there's nothing you can really do at that point, because remember, you only have 5 of them. So you need to make sure that you're hoarding those so that it can go into that one character. And then at that point, if you want to reset, you can. I would say, again, a lot of players are asking me, am I keeping Leon? Absolutely. There's content that you're going to unlock at level 40, the Ethernet rally, that you're going to need to be able to do. So a lot of players are going to find that out real soon, because there's not really many options for fire DPS, especially if you didn't pull them. And the game literally gives you one for free, okay? So that's that. Now, outside of that, of course, Commission Chronicles, we just got to equip somebody with outstanding modules, and then we'll be basically done with that. We're shifting in, and we'll probably be doing our hell runs on stream. So make sure you guys come through. We're going to be, and I've actually been purposely waiting to do that because I want to show people, I'm progressing with what I have through those. And my teams really honestly haven't changed really much. So that's basically that, right? And then I guess outside of that, just to look at, let's see, I think we did do Nico Nana. So we did Nightmare. We 3-starred it. So my team is pretty solid for that as well. So if we go to challenge here, and the thing with Nico Nana, a lot of players are like, dude, she's like kind of way easier than Whitney. Maybe the first couple, she does kind of scale a little bit. But the biggest thing here, what I'm really taking advantage of, I'm using Dinah. I'm using my Rosa here, Leon as you can see, and then we're using Kraken for the pushback. He can't CC the boss, but he can still push back the boss and also CC the ads, which that's less damage on me. It's also Reason, so that kind of helps out there. And then, of course, Rosa just gets way more value here because she's attribute advantage. So yeah, really taking advantage of like the defense breaks and stuff like that, really so that we could kill this boss a lot quicker with the erosion and vulnerability. And then, yeah, you also got the turn meter still coming from Leon, so it's really solid. Now, if we go back, I know some people might still be stuck on Whitney. And just to kind of talk to what we did for Whitney, we have been able to 3-star Whitney. And kind of the same thing. The main difference, I would say, is with Whitney, you really have to kill her before she's able to summon these clock ads back, because once they come back, they just can like bully one person, and they also defense break you. So that's another reason why you don't want them to hit you. So the best thing here is like rotation pushback, because it affects the ads, but it also will affect Whitney. So kind of the same setup I'm using for Nico Nadas will obviously transfer over. And it's kind of sort of the same mentality. Like, I need to get more hits in before you can. And as long as you're able to maintain doing that, then you'll be able to work this down. Now, if you have Dot, like if you have Oval or Shadow Sania or Fangus, that's also something that you can use here. The HP damage is only going to become stronger, guys, as you climb. Okay, that's very important. So that's another really big thing, right? So just kind of talking about some of those teams, I feel like, you know, kind of gives a little bit perspective there. And I'll show you guys my Terra team in a second. Now, one thing I do want to jump to before we get to that is actually something that a lot of players honestly need to make sure that they're taking advantage of. And it's the arena shop. Okay. Now the arena shop, and this is just kind of like speaking to what you are getting value out of right now versus what you'll be getting value from later. Now we talked about this before, but a lot of players are like, I don't know, I want that perfect Latice. And I'm like, well, I mean, to be honest, the biggest thing is that when you're looking at starting the game, one of the resources that you're going to be lacking the most, and most people are probably feeling it, is Etheria coin. And if they've been investing in shells, training data. And it's going to be a mixture of obviously selling the old when you graduate into the new, but there's going to be a point at which you might not have enough Etheria coin, for example. And buying Etheria coin in here, like let's say you have like about 3,000 currency, that's going to be about like what, like almost 2 million, like 1.5, like, you know, probably like 1.5 million Etheria coin. And that's going to be a lot of value that will allow you to level up your gear to say like plus 12 for 5 characters versus just buying this one Latice or hoarding for this one Latice, which is only going to affect one skill. And you get more than enough free Latice to also fulfill that free mission, or that Animus hyperlink charter mission. So it's not even necessarily like you have to force this early. And the other thing is that you're going to be honestly taking more time to scale up your SSRs, especially because you have to focus the missions first. And then from there, like I said, you're really looking at building up your gear. That's going to give you way more value than building up or trying to save for this one item. And granted, perfect Latices are very rare. They're one of the rarest items in the game. But when you're talking about that initial start and what's going to progress and push you and propel you into getting those other resources so that later on you can start accumulating and saving for this on a weekly basis. Because keep in mind, this currency is going to be per match that you get. You're going to have rank up rewards for each new rank you go into. And then there's a weekly amount of this currency that's given. So it's not like you're never going to see this quantity ever again. It just is going to really be helpful for that initial burst in the game. And honestly, it's going to help you throughout the game when you get stuck at certain points where like you don't have enough Etheria coin. Again, like I said, a big portion of this is going to be buying and selling, but I got to shout out the homie Cyan Storm because that is a big tip. Coming to the arena shop and using the currency here so that you can actually invest more in your modules. Now with the Summit Arena, a little bit different. With RTA, this is something you can literally do infinitely. Now my whole thing with this is that I I would say like with RTA, it's definitely a lot more manual extensive. It's not nearly as auto as like, you know, auto friendly, I should say, as maybe if you're doing Etheria. So I would say definitely in here, you know, buying the Shadow Prince is actually going to be pretty huge. As you rank up, getting the fragments is something you'll be able to consider buying. The Anima prototypes, do you have to buy the Apex or the Anima prototypes? I mean, you could, but is it emphasized? I mean, you're still getting a ton of free resources. So you might be buying these as you go a little bit later, but in the very beginning, when you're first doing RTA, again, the things that are going to be pushing your account the most, reconfig chips are going to be pretty big for your shells so that you can actually have better performing shells. You don't have to go for the advanced investigation records. You can just farm EXP with your stamina. But the reconfig chips, you're going to notice like once you start trying to actually reroll the passive effects on your shells, you're going to absolutely need this, right? Like, it's going to be pretty big. Training data is going to be somewhat okay to manage because you'll be able to sell some of those older pets and you'll be able to get some of that training data back. So same thing, Etheria coin is your modules, the training data is your shells. And so like that constant, you know, I got something new, I'm graduating, and then selling all the stuff that you farm that you're not using anymore because you're not going to level it past say level 9, or like say you're at outstanding, so you no longer need epic gear, you're going to sell that too, right? So I just want to talk about that, but we're going to have more videos going into launch that kind of consolidate it into more of like, this is a shop guide, etc. But I just want to talk about those things because those are a lot of the things that a lot of players are like trying to figure out how we're doing what we're doing, and it's because of those little things. That's what's like really honestly separating our accounts at this point. So yeah, definitely thought it was worth mentioning. Okay guys, so let's actually shift gears here. Now I want to go into the Anisync echoes. We are right now on Dahlia, so we have to clear this. We'll probably do this on stream, but yeah, I've been like working on this kind of last because there's no real like time window that you need to clear it. You just need to clear it, you know, for the very first time. But if you guys look here too, like there's a lot of different resources that you're going to be able to get from here. The perfect latices, all that stuff is in here, right? But the other thing that we actually have been working on was the Ember Trek. So if you are struggling with this, we are on floor 18. One thing that really is going to help you, some people are probably like, dude, these fights take forever. Remember things like Dot, probably up until the Memory Abyss, this is like the first boss that's kind of like, no, we need you to do real damage here. Dot is going to be able to help you out tremendously. CC, like with Kraken, is going to be really, really nice. You're going to also have, like, for example, like if you got Lilith, her pushback with the Graceful Mischief is going to be good. But anybody that can rotate you, Freya, Doky, Lily, like any of those characters are going to be really good. But the more, the better. And really my piece of advice is, whoever the healer is, usually if you can get rid of that character, the whole team falls apart. So like the floor before was a Valerian, for example, on floor 14. So as soon as we got rid of Valerian, the whole team fell apart and we were able to deal with the Shieda. This one is Ling Lao. So if you lock down and push back the Shieda, or sorry, the Ling Lao, then the whole team falls apart, right? So it's really, really like simple, just kind of going through and just kind of climbing this. And like I said, I'm playing this with like some of the worst stuff that you could like honestly start out with. And so it should be easier for a lot of you guys that have like those Tiamats and, you know, you have more of the bulkier setups, because then you can kind of outlive or outlast those. If you have immunity, that ends up being a really, really huge plus because it allows you to block out some of the debuffs that they are going to have. And you're also picking debuffs to work against you. So this is what really makes this like challenging. My thing is that you always got to pick things that aren't going to work against what your characters are doing. So don't pick like the effect that's like can't land any of your debuffs because you're using a debuff team like that. Yeah, like you want to avoid stuff like that. So the Ember Trek, like I said, floor 18, we're going to try to push that some more today on stream. And then, of course, investigation, we're at level 25, so we're completely done with that. We don't even got to think about it. It's very straightforward. We're in hell. I would say minimum you need to be, you know, in hell for like all of this. I mean, if you're not even doing the top one, that's okay. You'll eventually be able to do it as your account swaps into and shifts into the mythic. So yeah, you'll be able to kind of cook that. So like I said, right now we are currently just in that push to level 40. Once we get to level 40, we're straight, right? You don't have to keep refilling at that point. You can just kind of play casually, you know, kind of build up your stuff. If you want to refill at that point, you can continue to do so. And also, guys, this is another fun fact. You can can actually check your pools in the achievements. And we have done, if we go to development, 316 pools. And I right now am sitting on about 24 more, right? So this is considering, again, I still got a lot of stuff I got to first time clear. We still have about 11,000 crystals, and this is considering that I actually used all of my resets, which that's like the 600, I think, and 800 or something like that. Or no, it's 4, 6, 6, and 800. So I spent some Hydra crystals on that, still maintaining my refills. Those that haven't even done resets, and they're like sitting at like somewhere near almost maybe like 16, 17K. So again, everything else has been basically the Animus prototypes for the summons. Okay, so we'll be blasting those on the stream. Again, guys, if you guys have any questions, make sure you guys come through to the streams. I try to answer as much as I can there. I'm answering certain questions on some of the videos too, but a lot of these questions are very, very specific to each player's account. Every experience is so different. So yeah, make sure you guys come through. So the last thing that I want to show you guys, obviously, is the teams I'm using right now. We're going to be going into hell, which technically I could have already did it, but I want to actually run through it on stream. So just as far as the team that we're going into it with, still the same thing, man. Nothing's really changed. We're still using the Leon. We're using the Hell Kid, Dinah, number 41, and then I don't even know why my Kraken's in here. I think I was trying some crap. And then I think, who else was it that we had? I'm trying to remember here who we were using. I think it was, is he placed right now? No, it's great. Oh, Freya. There we go. I was like, where's my Freya? Yeah, so it's Freya. So that's who we're going to be basically using as we go up. And then we should be good, right? And this, of course, can auto Nightmare 3. So I'm pretty confident we'll be able to do Hell 1. I mean, Hell 1 jumps up a little bit, but as long as your team is, consistent, then yeah, they're fine. Now for Doky, my team, we actually had to build it a little bit different. We're actually doing some runs right now. So let's actually return to battle so you guys can actually see it. So it looks like my Kraken's stunned right now, but we're using right now Owu, Rosa, we're using Freya, and Gray is on a DPS build. So yes, Gray can be used as a DPS for something like this. And he works quite well. So that's basically what we're using to clear Doky. I'm using Lilith in like certain regards, but I had to swap her just because she slows my run a little bit too much. And it kind of gives me too much of an anomaly when we're trying to get rid of that middle ad. So it's a lot safer running it with Gray. So yeah, that's basically the team that I'm running right now with the Dot, the CC. It's pretty much a pretty safe run, really. And then Rosa has really, really good damage, especially when she's able to rotate into her skill 3. And then the Dot work down here is just like really insane. So yeah, Terra Matan, Doky are basically taken care of. And that's how that kind of goes, right? And then, of course, for Aurora we're starting to work on. Like I mentioned before, I know some people are going to ask about that. Like, what am I starting to work on with this? The main thing is that, like, I'm not trying to stretch myself too thin just yet. I only started working on Viper. I need him a little bit faster because then he'll be my opener so that he can actually strip Aurora. He needs speed and effect accuracy to make that happen. He'll strip Aurora. And then from there, I'm going to go for the pushback and then to my Dinah. And then nuke damage coming from my Leon and my Rosa. And that is basically my team. Very, very straightforward. Now, I will get to a point, though, where I will have to take out one of my DPS. It probably will be Leon. And then we're going to actually slap a healer in here. We did get lucky and got Ling Lao early. We are going to build her for sure for this. But if you don't have Ling Lao, then you can go Dorothy. Okay, very, very simple. You can literally go, I'm trying to think who else heals here. Chaki is another one. Sania is going to take extra unnecessary damage here, so wouldn't really advise it. But yeah, those healers are going to be usable here. So very, very valuable to note because healing is required for you to deal with the cursed shield. So it basically reduces damage dealt by the target by 50%. And so you can remove this when the target receives healing. So that is why you need to have a source of healing, because otherwise you don't do any damage, which means this fight's going to take longer and she's ultimately going to kill you, right? So very, very straightforward, but we'll be running that on stream as well. So yeah, guys, that's basically everything at this point in a nutshell. It's really straightforward, man, for the progression, but I am going to be simplifying some of this stuff in some more videos. I'm going to be working on those. We're going to probably be streaming a little bit less. We've been doing like 12-hour streams, so we're probably going to drop down to like probably like a good, you know, four or five maybe, so that I can start working on some more videos for you guys. But yeah, guys, that's basically going to be that with this one, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Everyone, stay blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.